If you can't sell, you don't have a business. A lot of people set up businesses, don't they? They spend a lot of money on the headed paper and the business cards and the website and everything else, and the expensive offices in London or in suburbs, and then wonder where the customers are. Because the most important activity for your business and for mine is selling. And most people don't know how to do it. So what we're going to do today is start the first 6 hours of this program. We're going to start at a very interesting place. It's the part of selling, in fact success in general, that most gurus who teach like I do spend just 1% of their time on. And yet it's the aspect that makes 75% of the difference. Right? And this first hour that we're going to cover, hour 1 of 18 hours, it's called the lazy man's way to riches. Now, I thought you might like that. Because none of us really, in our heart, don't want to have to work very hard and everything else, but you've got to put in a certain amount of work, but something you love. And I'm going to show you very simply what the lazy man's way to riches is, and why 50 years ago now, some American business people were taken to a location in Nevada, very quietly, and was shown this skill, and it's now becoming more and more well known. But I'll show you that, lazy man's way to riches. After we've done that, I'm going to show you some amazing stuff, which is really, we've got the Olympics coming to London next year, something that we call the inner game of peak performance. It's the same sort of sports psychology that you can use to run your business. I'm going to show you how to do that. And well, I won't preempt what I'm going to say in just a minute, what I'm going to show you how to do. But you're all, by the end of the morning, everybody in this room, if you haven't seen it before, will have performed an amazing step. You will have broken through with your bare hands one of these boards. Did any of you see that, us do that before at Bishopsgate? I'm going to show you again today how it's done. After we've done that, I'm going to show you something even more interesting, and that's what I call the luck factory. How many of you believe in luck as part of business? Well, a man called Professor Richard Wiseman, who is the Emeritus Professor of Psychology at the University of Hertfordshire, about 10 years ago, he did a study into whether luck was a thing, a malleable thing that you could control, or whether it was just chance happenings. And remember, he's a scientist. He wants to prove either something exists or it doesn't exist. And he set out to prove that luck was purely a figment of your imagination. And yet, during his study, what he discovered was something very, very interesting, which I'm going to show you today, that there are 4 behaviors that lucky people use in their lives every day, and they're very simple things. And he pretty much guarantees, and because I do it, I'll guarantee to you that everybody in this room, if you do what I tell you to do this morning in the 3rd hour, you will come back to me in 30 days' time and you'll say, yes, I did get lucky. And if you already think you're lucky, you'll tell me almost definitely, I'm getting even luckier. So that's what we're going to do in the 3rd hour. The 4th hour, I'm going to start telling you about human persuasion. Because unless you understand the basics of human persuasion, the fundamentals of how we all make decisions to do anything, choose a partner, buy a dress in a shop, buy a suit in a shop, buy a ham roll rather than a chicken roll for lunch, unless you understand the fundamentals, it's a waste of time taking you through the rest of selling. Then I'm going to show you a model put together by a young English student 40 years ago, which is now the fundamental model for selling to other people. I've just started, I was telling Dr. Back earlier this morning, I've just started running a leadership program for one of the big energy companies in this country, and I showed their geologists, who have to search for oil and gas every day, how to do this way of persuading in business, and they didn't believe me because they're very analytical people. And yet when I got their bosses in later that day to try and persuade them to run some new projects, all the guys agreed to try this way of doing it. And the bosses said, that is the most amazing thing, the way I feel persuaded to follow you now. And it's called Bike. It's called Bike. And I'm going to show you how to do Bike before the end of the day. Won't get into it until this afternoon. And then finally, because you're selling to other human beings, so nothing is perfect. This isn't a panacea for just solving all your problems. There will be some objections when you're up with clients. Anything from, you're too expensive, I've already got one, whatever else it is, I'm already using another supplier. We're going to talk at the end of the day about how to overcome these fundamental objections. So this is living in the real world. You've probably read books like The Secret and the Cosmic Ordering Service. Have you seen those? People who think just by thinking about things, you can make a difference in your life. Well, I'm taking you to the next stage. There's nothing wrong with those books, but they stop short of what the real steps are that you've got to take to become the sort of success you want to be. So how does that sound like for us for just today? Right? Later on, let me tell you what after today, if you come back for days 2 and 3, I'm going to take you through the 6 laws of automatic influence, how you can very quickly persuade other people to do anything, what I call flipnosis, bang, without them even knowing why they've made a decision. Can't do it today, I've got no time. Then I'm going to show you what to do when you start to have to negotiate with someone. What's the main reason any of us has to negotiate? Because we like to sell our goods and services at the price we want to sell at, don't we? We don't really want to get into negotiation. So a negotiation is something you generally have to do when you've messed up what would otherwise be a straight sale. I'm going to show you how to do that. Not today, I haven't got time today. Then I'm going to show you the biggest reason, and again, I was talking to Dr. Dack about this earlier on. Do you know the biggest reason that you lose customers, good regular customers? Do you know the biggest reason you lose them? They forget about you. So I'm going to show you how to stay in contact with customers or past customers, even when they're not doing business with you, and why you've got to do it. Again, not today, that'll be our second course. Then I'm going to show you words that work. Magic words you can build into your conversation that will make your customers want to buy from you. It's the most amazing thing. Let me give you an example of this. Any of you who want to stay on after 5:30 today, I'm going to reveal to you some of the deeply hidden secrets of selling. Who would like to stay for that for 30 minutes afterwards? The really deep secrets of selling. Everyone, it's very interesting. If I have a book, and I do sell books, and I have one of my books on sale for £19.95 in one bookshop. And I have another book, exactly the same book over here, but it's one of those in the cellophane packets so you can't get into it. And in the front it says, over here on my book over £19.95, it says, buy this book and get 20% over your next purchase of a Bob Etherington book. You've seen those ads, haven't you? That sort of thing in bookshops. But over here I've got an identical book, but on the front of it, it's got stuck behind the cellophane a little added booklet that says the 10 secrets of real guaranteed selling. Which do you think people will go for? The £19.95 over here, the secrets of selling, the plus 10 things, and the one over here for 20% off the next purchase. Which do you think people go for? That one. I'll tell you something else. Here's exactly the same situation. I've got my book over here for £19.95 with 20% off your next Bob Etherington purchase. And over here, I've got the same book for £29.95 with that cellophane packet on it with the 10 secrets of selling. Which one will people go for? Let me just tell you this. The word I used there that made you want it more was this one. It was the word secret. The word secret, if you look on advertising for anything else at a very raw level, magazines and everything else, they use that word a lot because it is very, very powerful, motivating word. And when we get to that stage, try it. See, I'll give you the secret. Always make people feel it's a secret they're not going to find out unless they stay on, unless they pay more money. People always want to know what the secret is. They will do anything to know the secret of whatever it happens to be. And I'm going to show you that and a lot of other words as we work on. That's only, by then we've only reached module 10. When we get to module 11, again, not today. I'm sorry I have to put it up. There's only so much I can do today. We're going to show you how to get people to say yes to you, even though they'd rather say no. How do you get people to say yes to you? How do you keep them saying yes to you? Again, I'm not going to show you that until I've shown you the other stuff first. Then there's some very, very new material. And by the way, a lot of people think, selling and all that, it's the techniques come out of America. I have to tell you, no, they don't. Over the last 40 years, most of the modern techniques of selling and marketing have come out of this country. Mostly, curiously, from northern universities, like in Sheffield and everywhere else. They've done some studies in how do we get persuaded? How do we get people to buy from us? And the work's been done here in some very, very new material, which most people don't know yet. I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, not until you've got the basics. Then we're moving on to leadership. Again, I was talking to Dr. Dack earlier. Leadership is becoming the big thing at the moment. Most companies are fed up with managers. If you're just managing your business, you're not going to become the person you deserve to be. You've got to become a leader, and a leader is different from a manager. I'm going to show you how some of those skills can be applied in your own mind and how to develop them for yourself. I'm going to show you a whole outline of basic leadership thinking in Module 13. Then I'm going to show you how to become somebody who has charisma. Let's ask these ladies here. But ladies, this is going to shock all the men in the room. If a strange man comes through that door there, I'll be the strange man. Right? Come through the door, and you don't know me, and you haven't heard me speak yet. How long, ladies, listen to this man, how long does it take you to assess whether that man is an alpha male or not? Whether he's somebody you might have a date with and might have a relationship with, how long does it take you to assess as the man walks through that door? Straight away. Sorry, guys. You thought it was, let's catch her eye. No. Women make this decision very, very quickly, based on a number of things which men I'm going to show you how to do. You haven't got a chance to sort of catch the young girl's eye over there. Should I go across? She's already crossed you off the list. She'll let you buy her a drink, but you see the girl, you've got to go straight in. Hi, what's your name? Charmaine, nice to meet you. I'm Bob. See what I mean? How do you feel? That felt a bit different, didn't it? You see what I mean? And she knows I'm only playing, but somewhere deep in her animal breast beats this sort of heart. That's somebody I might. Doesn't say definitely, but she's at least she's left the door a bit open. We're going to show you how to become, any of you, that person with charisma. I'm going to show you how to do it. Not today, another time. Then I'm going to teach you how to be a see, as a leader, people aren't always going to like you. It's not important that they like you. What they want to do is respect you. You've got to become a bastard, but a fair bastard. You know what I mean? In the nicest possible way. I'm going to show you how to become that person that people respect. Yes, she was tough. Yes, he was a bit of a bugger on that, but he's very fair. That's the sort of boss you want to become. How you can actually control your time. How do people like Richard Branch and Steve Jobs, rest in peace, Bill Gates and that sort of people, what is it that they do with their time every day? Because they've only got 24 hours like you have. What is it they do with their day that's different from what you do with your day? I'm going to show you how to run your day like one of those people, like Mrs. Thatcher even, whoever it happens to be, or one of the dragons on the Dragon's Den. Show you how to control your time. And finally, the 4-part code, as they call it, that will transform you into the sort of leader you want to be. And that will take us right up to 18 hours' time. But as I say, today we're only going to do the first 6 hours. Any questions? Anything else you'd like to cover? So today, I'm going to start with a lazy man's way to riches. What this is all about is showing you how to get everything in life that you want. Notice I didn't say anything. Why did I say anything? Why did I use the word everything?
Anything is too vague.
Yes, it means any one thing. Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I want lots of things. No? So everything in your life that you want, you can have. You can have. What is the most important aspect? If you think about the work that you do now, excuse me, just having a sip of my coffee. How many of you are in work at the moment, or running businesses or anything else? Okay. Let's write down some words here. Let's draw a circle. And in that circle, we're going to put all the attributes that go to help you run your business or do your job in the way that's going to give you the best possible result. What do you think are some of the attributes of somebody to do your job as well as you do it? What do you got to have? What do you got to have inside you? Energy. Let's write that down. Very good. Energy. You've got to have energy, yeah? There's no wrong answers. They're just your feeling. What do you think it takes to become a successful as an employee or as a business owner?
Personality.
Personality, yep.
Drive.
Drive, yep. Resilience.
Vision.
I don't know what resilience properly. I have to maybe correct my spelling of it. Sorry?
Vision.
Vision, yep. Focus, yep.
Boldness.
Boldness. Creative, yes ma'am?
responsibility.
Responsibility. Responsibility.
Mission.
Sorry?
Mission.
Mission, yeah. Notice all these words. There are two words that are missing from these. What do you think they are? It's interesting because whenever you run this particular exercise, it's always the same. Two words that are missing from here:
Persistence.
skills
Yes.
and knowledge. And yet, you know, when you have to fill in a job application form, that's all they want to know. What skills, what's your past knowledge? And yet, you've all said, these are all your words. Look, about that line. All these words like energy, personality, vision, focus, boldness, drive, resilience, creative, responsibility, mission. And you are all right. And added together, these words above that line there, they add together to make one word which is really going to dictate whether you are going to succeed in the way that you want to succeed rather than anything else. What do you think that word is? That if you add all these words up together, it become one thing which people recognize in you. You're so close. You're so close. In fact, the first two letters are absolutely right. What is the most important determinant of when you're at the Olympic Games later this year in this country? What is going to be the most important thing of all to whether somebody wins or loses? Attitude, correct. The most important thing of all in your life is your attitude when you're going to succeed. Not all the skills and the knowledge and everything else. It's what's your attitude like? This is so important. Do you know how much of entrepreneurial makeup is attitude? Now, if you saw the thing we did at Bishopsgate earlier this year, you'll see this already. I'm going to open this up now. You tell me when you think you've got enough attitude. You've got to get skills and knowledge in there somewhere. But let's see how much attitude, how important attitude is. Keep opening the pie chart. You tell me when to stop. When you think we've got enough attitude in the pie that makes up you as regards to the factor of your success.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah? You're absolutely right. All the studies show that when it comes to your success, and yours and yours and yours and all of you, 75% of it, this big chunk of the pie that makes up you, is your attitude. Skills and knowledge fit over here. In that last little bit. This is the thing that's going to be most important to you, and it's the thing that most people miss out on when they're trying to teach you to sell and become top of your game. But let's ask ourselves another question. Let's not just leave it there. What drives our attitude? What drives our attitude? What gives us that attitude of get up, do the job, do what has to be done and become successful? What drives it? What is the forcing power behind it all?
Dreams.
Dreams? Yeah. You put those down, dreams. Vision. Past experience, yeah. Let's have a look at something.
Goals are values.
Aha! Goals. This is how important this is. Let's say I'm going to invent a new game, and all of you are going to play. It's a team game. And I say this is where we're going to have this, and it's going to be a big circle, a big grass circle here, and white line around the outside. It's black in my case, doesn't matter. And it's going to be 180 meters diameter circle. And you're all going to be in it. You're going to have all the X's over here, maybe everybody down this side of the room. All the X's lined up to play the game. And all the Y's over here. However many we want. Maybe we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And all the 11 Y's to play against them over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I chuck a ball into the middle and say, go on, play a game then. What would be the difficult thing for you to play the game? Play the game, here's a ball, I chuck a ball in with you.
No direction. There's no direction. There's no, there's no rules.
Yeah, there's no goals. In other words, if you don't have a goal in your life, if you're not clear on what it is, every single road will take you there. Right? And this is, let me just ask you a minute. Suppose I was to come into your bedroom at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to, don't worry, so you're perfectly safe. Right? And I wake you out of a deep sleep. And I say, come wake up. Tell me, what are you going to do with your life in the next 3 years? Could you tell me? Very precisely.
Not specifically,
No?
generally.
What about the rest of you? How many precise could you be on this? If I was to wake you up, wake up! What are you going to do in the next 5 years? Next 3 years? Next year? What are you going to do? How many of you could tell me? Very clearly. What about if I walked into Richard Branson's bedroom and did the same for him? Or that Deborah Meaden on, some of the ladies, but put the balance right here. Deborah Meaden on Dragon's Den, and woke her out of a deep sleep and said, Deborah, where are you going to take your business in the next 3 years? Do you think she could tell me? Very precisely how much money she's going to make, what she's going to do. Could you? See? What do you think most people's goals are in life? They think they've got goals, don't they? Most people think they've got a goal. They do. And their goals mostly are, I'm going to win the lottery. Let me tell you about winning the lottery. It's 14 million to 1. Let me just write that down for you, just so there's no misunderstanding of what I mean. 14 million, that's 14 million to 1. That's your chance of winning the lottery next week. There used to be, when I lived in New York, there used to be a big sign for one of the banks outside Kennedy Airport, which said, in the next weekend, somebody is going to win the lottery. And then in letters a bit smaller underneath it, it said, just not you. You're not going to win. If you believe that you are and you stand a chance, well, I mean, nothing wrong with spending a pound on a ticket, but 14 million to 1 is rather like me deciding, let's say you go up to Glasgow and hop in your car, and you ring me up and say, Bob, I'm just leaving. You start driving down towards London. And I say, okay, I don't know your first name. Kwame, I'm just leaving London now. Have you got your bucket? And you say, yes.
Yes.
And I've got my tennis ball. And somewhere we don't communicate again. So I'm just leaving London, you're driving down south, and I'm driving up north. And some time during that journey, you decide to put your bucket out of your car window. And I decide sometime, we're not in contact anymore, I decide an hour into the trip to throw my tennis ball out of the window. 14 million to 1 is the chance that my tennis ball will fall into your bucket. So it's not going to happen, is it? So forget that. And yet most people have goals like that. What do you think? What are your goals? What are your goals?
What, personal or professional?
That's up to you. You don't have to tell me any of your secret heartfelt
I
desires. No.
guess my goal is to set up an organisation.
Okay, set up an organisation. Okay. Any other goals? Let's go around the room. Have some goals.
Okay, my goal, I guess, is to be financially free. That's my
Financially free.
financial freedom, and the other kind, and all other kinds.
To set up an organisation. An organisation. We've got some goals up here. Goals.
Be free.
Free.
Leave a legacy.
Leave a legacy.
That's my goal.
Right. That's fine. Anybody else? I'd add a couple more to that.
To be a millionaire.
Millionaire. That's interesting. Any one of you in this room could be a millionaire in the next 3 years. It's up to you. But these are what we call mostly phony goals. Why do you think we call these phony goals?
Not specific enough.
They're not specific enough. And then we're back to where we were before. We're back to almost playing that game, or maybe if you now would have a soccer pitch and it's like that, the goal is so big that everything becomes, we've got your goal post up at this end of the soccer pitch and there's your centre line in the middle and everything else. Right? Your goal is so big, it's really not worth shooting at. It's not good enough for your mind. And this is where the lazy man's way to riches comes in. Because once you are clear in your own head where you're going, then you have a much better chance of where you're going to. So how could we change some of these vague dreams, these phony goals, and make them more specific? How can we do that?
Put the times, right?
Sorry?
Time. Make it more specific.
Make it more specific. So how could we make that goal more specific to set up an organisation?
Break it down as in what type of organisation you want to set up and
Exactly.
what is going to be, what do you want in the organisation,
Yeah.
what do you want out?
Yes. What do we mean by, what about financial freedom here? What's that? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's knowing what kind of lifestyle you want to lead and what you need to be able to live that lifestyle, so there will be a financial figure.
Absolutely right. You've got, if you want your brain to, if you're very religious, and we're not having a religious meeting here at all today, but there's an old saying, isn't there, that God helps those, the Lord helps those who help themselves. If you know where you're going, then believe me, life, nature, God, whoever it is, will help you get there. Even Einstein said this. He said there is a power. There is, and he's a scientist. Once you know what you want, I always say to people, be very careful what you pray for in case you start getting it. Be very, very careful what you start praying for. No good just praying and then sitting down thinking, well, I hope God gives this to me. But once you get out there and start acting in the world and being very clear on what your goals are, you will be amazed at what starts to happen. The only complaint I ever get about this program is it all started to happen too quickly. That's the only complaint. So you're not ready for this, then you really ought not to be here. Because when it starts working for you, really, don't think you're going to make any friends in your family, by the way. Because they hate it when you start to succeed. People in your family, your brothers and sisters, won't like it unless they're in the business with you. Sometimes your spouses won't like it either. Because they're much keener to say, no, you don't do that. No, you're my sister, brother. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, you. And when you start to take those steps and become that person, because you're very clear on where you're going, do you know what they'll say about you? Oh, you just got lucky. I'm even going to show you in the next module how to get lucky, how to increase your chance of getting lucky. Now, what do you think? Once you're clear on what your goals are, I'm going to write some words up here. A lot of people say will actually change the way in which you see the world. Here's some factors. Lucky breaks as being the reason that some people become successful. The second thing I'm going to put down here is family background. Social contacts. Basic intelligence, or extra intelligence, I think. Educational advantage.
Are these in any particular order?
No, I'm just putting down some things here as sort of the mystery missing factor in how people get successful. I wonder whether you can pick out which one is the most important of all. Good health, enthusiasm. You can copy these down if you want. A winning personality. Real determination. Plenty of financing. Which do you think, which one of those 10 items I just put down there is the real secret ingredient for becoming, once you know what it is you want, which one is the secret ingredient that will make all the difference?
Determination.
Determination?
I think I think lucky breaks.
Lucky breaks?
Yeah.
Certainly be covering that as an aspect
Yeah.
of this, yeah? Anybody else?
It's
Sorry?
okay.
Determination? That's quite important as well, yeah?
Winning personality.
Winning personality? In fact, I told you a lie, I'm sorry, it's none of those. I played a trick on you. What do you think it is? The thing that will determine how successful you become is your ability to take whatever asset or talent you have and make it succeed for you. It doesn't matter what it is. It's your ability and your willingness to take that to use effectively whatever asset you have. It doesn't mean you've got to be particularly healthy. You could just be a handyman. I mean, a lot of people, my ex-business partner, couldn't even put up a light bulb. I had a handyman round to my flat in West End of London about 10 years ago, and I said to him, is there much call for a handyman? Just a man turned up in a Honda with a box of tools on the back. Is there much call for a handyman at the West End of London? He said, yes. He said, 90% of my work is putting up pictures. Yeah? Whatever it is, doesn't matter, it's baby minding service, fashion, I don't know what it is, but it's your ability to take that talent and make it work for you. Because I assure you, you are unique. You are unique. So, the saddest cases in the world, well, there's really three of them. The first sad case in the world is somebody who's got a well-defined goal, but very ineffective in pursuit of them. Isn't it? Well-defined, I know what I want. What are you doing about it? Oh, I pray. Good, excellent. What else have you done? Nothing. God's sitting there saying, come on, let's start work. Let's get out there. Well, I keep on asking, what have you done? Absolutely nothing. Well, nothing's going to happen then, is it? The second one is somebody with no clear goals, but pushes very hard. It's what we call busy work. They're rushing around all the time, but they're not clear on what it is they're trying to do. And the saddest person of all is the person with no clear goals and not rushing around. Not doing a thing. My old boss at Xerox in Croydon used to say, there are no customers in the office. No customers here. What are you staying in the office for? All the customers are out there. And he used to look down into George Street in Croydon and say, there they all are. People, their pockets are bulging with money. Go and see them. Sitting in your office hoping the phone's going to ring, that's a recipe for disaster. I said this in Chicago at a presentation I did last year. I said there are no customers in the office. And the girl at the back said, yes, sir, like there are no boyfriends in the apartment. You want a boyfriend? They're out there. They're not going to be sitting at home on a Saturday night watching movie videos. Is going to find your bloke. No? They're out there. They're doing something else. So customers are out there as well. You've got to get on your bike and go and find them. You know what you want. Now go and find them. Go and find the people who can. You've got to work with other people. Don't like people. Waste time making business. No good just sticking up your website. There are billions of websites out there. Just having a website isn't going to find your business. You're going to be in about the 108th page of Google. If you're not on page 1 of Google, forget it. I'm not going to win you to spend money anymore doing that sort of thing. You've got to do something. You've got to have a website, but that isn't the answer. Okay. Now then, the biggest thing is, do you have, let's ask you some questions here. Right? What do you think is the most important thing? I'm going to write up some things here. Let's write down a step-by-step plan. Is that the most important factor, one of the most important factors for success? Is it helpful to focus on someone you admire? Question mark? Is it helpful to you to get where you want to go, to tell other people what you're going to do? Because remember, we haven't even got to selling it, we're just getting you to motivate yourself. Is it useful to think of the roadblocks you might encounter? Is it helpful when you come to be successful to think about all the good things that will happen? Is it helpful to suppress unhelpful thoughts. Seven, was it helpful to reward yourself? What I call sub-steps, little steps on the journey to your bigger steps. Number 8 question. Rely on willpower. To record your progress in a little diary or a little log. And fantasize about amazing, superhuman outcomes. Now, let me ask you each of those questions. Go down that list yourself, and anything, if you think that having a step-by-step plan is very useful for you, give yourself a 1 point for that. If you think that focusing on someone you admire is useful to you, say yes, yes, I give yourself 1 point for that. If you think no, it isn't, just leave it completely blank. Just go through all of those yourself. Step-by-step plan, focus on someone you admire, tell other people, think about the roadblocks that you might encounter, think about good outcomes. Suppress unhelpful thoughts. Reward yourself in little steps, and have the little steps along the road. Rely on your willpower. Record your progress in a diary. Fantasize about amazing, superhuman outcomes. Any of those that you say, yes, that would be a useful thing, just give yourself a 1. If you think it's not useful, don't give yourself anything. You done that? Oh, so you jumped ahead of the class. This is fundamental to your success. Have you done them? Right. So if you think step-by-step plan is useful, give yourself a 1. Focus on someone you admire, give yourself 1. Tell other people. Here's the facts about all this. If you have given yourself a mark for this one, in other words, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, you've chosen what scientists have discovered are the most important steps that you've got to take to succeed in business. Get yourself a step-by-step plan. Do tell other people. Don't keep it to yourself, because if you told other people, it's a bit embarrassing if you don't do it. Right? Think about the good outcomes, yes. Not the superhuman ones necessarily. Think about the good ones. Reward yourself with little steps. You know, I've got to do my VAT return. I don't want to do it, but when I've done it today, I'll give myself a bar of chocolate or something like that, or go and have lunch. Little rewards for sub-steps are important. Record your progress in a diary. Write down every day what you've done. Some of these other things, Anna, focus on someone you admire. Despite what you may have heard, focusing on someone you admire often makes you go think that how will I ever be Einstein? How will I ever become Steve Jobs? You probably won't. So don't do that. Although a lot of these books tell you to focus on someone you admire, it doesn't. All the evidence shows that it isn't necessarily that which makes the difference. You should, a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to think about roadblocks. You should really think about the roadblocks and problems you're going to have. And don't just pretend they're not going to exist. Don't try and suppress unhelpful thoughts. If you think, well, there could be a problem in that, work out how you're going to get around the problem. Have a think about it. Don't rely on your willpower. going to let you down. The human brain likes an easy life. Willpower alone isn't going to do this. It's focusing on your goals that's going to do it for you. And don't fantasize. Don't fantasize about fantastic outcomes where you're married to the King of England or something like that. It's not going to happen. Right? So these ones are the important ones. Step-by-step plan. Do tell other people what you're going to do. Think about the good outcomes, not the brilliant, not the fantasized ones, the good outcomes you're going to get. Reward yourself with little steps. Record your progress in a diary. Good morning. Now then, what is the biggest, let me show you how to do this. We're coming to the end of what I wanted to take here. Writing down your goals is the most, what I'm trying to get across to you in the first hour here, is writing down your goals is the most important thing, but do it very specifically. And the way you write goals and make them work for you is as follows. And do write this down, because this is important. This is what I do, and this is what any one of you has got to do. Number one, sit down quite quietly, write down your goals. And when you write goals, how do you know whether this is just a list of interesting things or a real life goals? Number one, they've got to be something that you want. Not something you need to do, like go to the gym or get out of a particular relationship. What do you want to do? What do you want? Not something that's going to make your mum and dad pleased. You haven't got to please your mum and dad or people in your family. What do you want? Write down your goals. Write them, as we said at the beginning, write them in detail. Add numbers to them. How much is enough money? How big is your organisation going to be that you set up? How will you know when you've got that first phase? We heard this expression this morning, I want to set up an organisation. Well, describe to yourself when you're writing your goal down, what this organisation looks like. How will you know when you've got there? How many people will be working there? Where will it be? If you say, I want to be a millionaire, say, fine. You've got to say, I can see myself with £1 million in the bank. I'm looking at you can imagine seeing your bank statement. You've got to be very, very specific so that the next time I come and wake you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you don't just say, well, I sort of know what I'm going to do. You don't want these phony goals. You want definite goals. Write them in detail. When you write the goals down, write them as if they have already happened. It's very important. You're playing with your brain here. Your brain wants to know, not that this is where you're going to. You write down something like it is January the 1st, 2013, and I've just taken delivery of my, I don't know what it would be, Porsche Carrera. It is silver in colour. It's got, I don't know, this is my dream, not yours. I wrote down, I tell you what I want. I'm a rich man, and I've got places in New York and London and everything else. Do you know what I want next? I want a helicopter. I could describe it to you. I know what I'm doing this for now. No, this is,
It's the
the Harry
side
Christians.
of the
Is it? All right.
Demonstration.
Fine. But this is it. Right. You've got to write them as if they've already happened, as if you're already in possession of the thing. Once you've done that, what I want you to do every day is get your list out, write down your goals, write them down in detail, and they're the things that you want. Right? Write them as if they'd already happened. Set a date for their achievement. Don't just say, I'm going to become a millionaire tomorrow, because you're not. Forget that. But in 3 years, anybody in this room, you can easily become a millionaire. It's not that difficult, but those million is the hardest. After that, they just seem to keep coming. Any one of you can do it. Don't tell me you can't. Because you can. And there's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. But other people, they blame other people in their lives, don't they? It must be his fault, it must be life, must be the recession. Nothing to do with that. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a wall of money out there just waiting for you to get your share. But before you can tap into it, you've got to know what it is you're trying to do. How will you know when you've succeeded? Every day when you read these, I want you to get up in the morning, read your list, and then visualize it. And we're going to come in a minute to why this is so important, this step. Right? So you read your goal yourself, and the way you read your goal, now this is what, I've got to tell you this, you think I'm telling you fibs. This is my goal list that I wrote down 35 years ago. Right? This is it. Here, I've altered it. See what? The dinner's been on it now and again. Right? This is the goal I wrote down. I own a £1 million house at Keston Park in Kent and a £1 million flat in London. I do both of those. Right? I do both of them. I'm not trying to, listen, I'm not better than you. I just learned to do this stuff, and I'm passing it on to you quickly. You can have it as well. Yeah? It's up to you whether you want to have it or not. Don't look at my dreams, that's what I wanted. And a $1 million apartment in New York City, I've got that as well. This is serious stuff now. Write it down so that your brain knows what it is you're looking for. Right? I drive a brand new Bentley Continental. Well, Bond is, being... That's what I wanted. I'm not very green, I'm sorry. Right? But that's what I wanted. It's something physical that I could visualize and get into. I like my car. Around my garden, and I wrote this down as well, I've got a miniature steam railway in my garden in Kent. I love steam engines and locomotives. My wife thinks it's really stupid. Right? But it's a real steam engine, it'll pull people. It's miniature. Right? It's only men understand this, ladies. Girls don't understand this at all. That's what I wanted. I've got it. I own several small successful businesses. Yes, I do. 3 of them. One in Washington, D.C. and 2 here in this country. I've even got books out so that while I'm asleep, I'm still selling my books. One of my books I've done 4. See, they're not all successful. One of them is, it's a bestseller, and it's just in its 2nd reprint in 5 years. And it's making me money while I'm asleep. That's a great thing to do. So you could do the same. How could you have a business that makes money while you're asleep? So you're not working in your business is working for you. What could you do? Right? I own a share in an aeroplane at Biggin Hill, which I do. I love flying. I didn't learn until I was 44. Best fun you can have with your clothes on. Learn to fly. One person in this room has been flying with me. I let him have the controls. Wasn't it the greatest thing?
It was excellent.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Yes.
It's definitely.
And not very difficult, was it? I think I'll never be able to fly it over British Cat. Was it very difficult?
I drove on the way. I flew on the way back, and it was the first time that I've ever.
Was it difficult?
It took time to relax, but essentially.
You just don't hold it tightly. It's just like they said in that television program, it's like caressing a beautiful woman, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's you hold the controls very lightly.
Yeah.
And the plane then, like a woman, do what you want to do. Don't hang on to it too tight. But that's the plane, isn't it? It's not pressures of pulling like you see in the films. It's gentle, isn't it? You just pull the thing back and the plane will go up, push it down and go down again. Yeah. Didn't you have a nice time? You can do it. Now, once you've written it down, but you haven't got to do what they were my goals. What are yours? Don't try and live my life. I know what I like. My helicopter and everything else, I'll have it. That's fine. I've written it down. And I know, visualised it. I know I'm going to have it, know what it looks like. 4-seat. I can't fly a helicopter yet, I've got to tell you. I have a fixed wing licence, but not a helicopter. Well, I'll get one. And you can have what you want as well. My bills are paid, that was something. My bills are all paid. I have no mortgages now. I don't know why people like me, I'm 63, how some of my friends still got mortgages. You can do this stuff, you can pay it off in no time at all. Once you do it, you write it down. What would it mean? Well, I'll look at my bank account and everything will be in the black. I'll know. Well, I've got £40,000 in there. This stuff, when you start doing it, is very peculiar. One of my clients, well, I'll tell you this, is my daughter. She didn't know what she wanted. She's a great girl, my daughter. She said she wanted a job. She was an interior designer. So I said, write your goals down. She said, I want a salary, this was 2 years ago, I want a salary of £30,000 a year, not a fortune. She didn't dream big, she's not an entrepreneur. Yesterday, I was just telling you, she got a 7% pay rise. She just got a salary working for this charity of £54,000. She can't believe her luck. She uses this stuff now. No? As Steve Martin said, well, how do you do it? She works in the charity. Steve Martin said, the comedian, be so good they can't ignore you. That's the trick. Be so good they can't ignore you. I tell you the girl that I really liked last year. Did you see the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? Did you watch any of that, any of you? That young girl from Dagenham in East End of London. What was it that made her so good? Did you see it, any of you? That programme on the television? Forget the girl's name now. She was a little girl from Dagenham. Stacey, she won. What was it about her? She wasn't very bright. She wasn't very well educated. But she never complained once, did she? When they dropped her out of a helicopter and made her eat beetles and things like that, she would always come back and they'd interview her. So I'm such a lucky girl, didn't she? I'm so lucky to have done this. Everything was, she was making it was revolting and horrible things with maggots and everything else, but she was always, wow, how lucky I am to be alive. You see? That's what people want to do. There's so many people walking around, it's terrible in recession and everything else. It isn't like it's up to you. You're the problem, not the world out there. We're all having to live in the same world. What sort of attitude do you have towards it? How lucky are you to be alive? This isn't a religious revivalist meeting, but that's the sort of feeling you've got to give. When you do, people start to see that, because most people are walking around depressed, blaming everybody else. When you change your attitude and you write down, this is what I'm going to become. She said, I want to own my own flat. Well, she bought a flat from my son, who was going to move up to Wandsworth, so she bought his flat. Now she owns her own flat. To own some stocks and shares in the market. I know you don't necessarily agree with stocks and shares in the market, but that's what she does now. Any one of you, you've got to know what it is you want. Write it down, visualize it. Every day when you get up, I want you to get your list out, repeat it to yourself. Repeat it to yourself. Read it. And that's, when we go on to the next module in just a minute, I'm going to show you how to do visualizing. And the sixth and most important thing of all is this one. And I can't emphasize this too much. Don't tell anybody you are doing this who you think will laugh. Why not? Like a sister, brother, your mum, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband. Why not? Why not?
Knock it down.
They'll knock you down. They'll make you think, oh, I can't do this.
Discourage.
They'll discourage you. Unless they share your dream, unless it's your sister and you're in business with them, or your husband or your boyfriend or something like that, unless they share your dream, don't tell them. I tell you what, you can tell them if you want to, if you're only looking for an excuse for failure. You know, because you'll tell somebody, they say, it can't be that easy. This is the fundamental building block of your success. This is the thing that most sales courses only spend 1% of the time, and it makes 75% of the difference. Why are you getting up every morning? What do you want for your life? The poet John Betjeman, he was the poet laureate in this country until about 10 years ago he died. He was about 86 when he died. Just before he died, they were interviewing him on the television. They said, do you have any regrets, Sir John? He said, yes, I didn't have enough sex. But if that's what you want, you know, why not? It's your fault if you come to the end of your life and you haven't done the stuff you wanted to do. You're never too old. I'm 63. I mean, it's one day I'm going to die. I can't live forever. That's not impossible. But I'm certainly, my American business partner says, Robert, you have far too much fun. That's what he says to me. He was on the phone to me last night. Robert, you're having fun. I said, yeah, it's great. You've got a recession over there. It's great. Because most people are walking around saying, it's terrible. I'm out there taking the money. But let them gather around the pubs and everything else of London. I'm out there making money. When they're all standing around the pubs on a Friday afternoon being depressed, that's a great time. That's when I do cold calling. Because a lot of bosses are sitting in their office on Friday, they're on the pub. That's how they're getting rich. They're out there getting business in. Not wanting to do something is not an excuse for not doing it if you know it's right. So don't go telling anybody else that you're doing this unless they support you. This is the secret. This is the fundamental building block from which your attitude will come. Knowing exactly and precisely, in detail, what you want. And believe me, it isn't just physical things. It might be human attributes, your personality. You know, you've got to imagine if you're not a leader, then see yourself in that role now. And I'm going to show you how to do this in just a little while. If you're a procrastinator, see yourself, you know, you write down, I don't want to procrastinate anymore, and write down in detail, I want to get on with my work every day, write that down as they write them as if they've already happened. It is January the 1st, 2012, and I've stopped procrastinating. Every day I make sure I get 6 important letters written. And you write that down. You see yourself in your mind's eye and you visualize. You see yourself doing these things. Because you don't want to be lying there on your deathbed, the last day of your life, and you know your life's trading away, and you've led a great life, and your grandchildren come gathering around you and they say, "Grandfather, do you have any last words?" You say, "Yes, my child, come closer." "I think he's saying something." "What is it?" And you say, "What is it, Father? What are your last words?" I wish I'd watched more television." Do you want that to be your last words? What do you want your last words to your great-great-grandchildren to be? What do you want to be? I lived a life. I did the things I wanted to do. I had a great, and I did it with energy. I had my clothing business. Yeah, but didn't it fail? Yeah, it did, but I built it up again. Richard Branson was on the television a little while ago, and one of these very sarcastic journalists was saying to him, "You know, Mr. Branson, I mean, Virgin Cola didn't work very well, did it?" "No, it didn't." "And Virgin Insurance wasn't a great success, and Virgin Media hasn't been great, has it?" "No, and I hear that you're dyslexic, aren't you? You can't, and is it true that what we read in the paper that you can't understand the difference between gross profit and net profit?" He said, "Yes, all those things are true, but I'm the guy with the Caribbean island. I'm the guy with the airline. Is it these people that tell me what I can't afford?" Do you know what his book is called? You can read his book, Byton Smith's, which tells you how he became successful. Do you know what the title is? Screw it, let's do it. Somebody says to him, "Can we do it?" "Let's go do it. Let's start it. Let's see what happens." Don't be sitting in the wings saying, "Oh, I dare not do this." Go and do it. Step forward with confidence. "Hi, what's your name?"
Florence.
"Florence, nice to meet you. I'm Bob Etherington."
Oh.
And they say to me, you be that person who's, "Wow, I met them, they come into your company, it's such a great experience. It's with energy, there's no depression. It's, yeah, well, we've got a few problems, we'll sort them out." You know what you're going to do. Somebody wakes you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, your husband or whatever, what are you going to do? This is what we're going to do. This is precisely, I know when we've got it then. We're going to make £2 million over the next 3 years. That's what we're going to do. Look at the bank account. It's going to break it down into little steps. This is what we're going to do this month, next month, and what we'll do after that. They've already happened. You'll find that your goals start to happen much faster than you believe. I give you 3 years to make £1 million. You could, most of you in this room could do it in 18 months. If you want to, you've got to make sure it's what you want to do, not something that's going to please your mum and dad. And when you're going out doing a selling job, you make up your mind that's what you're going to do. When somebody comes up to you, however bad you are at doing the basic selling skills, they get a feeling from you, this is somebody I want to be part of this tree. Hey, this guy's really nice, really good company, nice guy to be around. So this is the essence, this is the lazy man's way to riches. Knowing what you want, write down your goals, write them in detail, write them as if they've already happened, visualize, which we're going to have in a minute. Repeat to yourself every morning when you get up. How many goals should you have? I've got 5 or 6, you can have more or less, you can have 1 or 2, it's up to you. Don't have too many, otherwise you're going to be there all morning and not getting on with your work, repeating your goals to yourself. But every day when you do it, try and do it before you go to sleep at night as well. Repeat your goals to yourself. Try and do it out loud if you can. If you've got no partner in there, so you mumble it to yourself now. Right? Try and do that. But don't tell other people who don't believe in this stuff. Because they will tell you what's not going to happen and it will start to put you off. Right. I'm going to give you a chance to go and to have a quick comfort break. Come back in 5 minutes. I'm going to take you to the next step in sales mastery. So have a quick break, 5 minutes literally, come back at 11:45. Yeah? Yes, this is what you've got to do. This is where it all begins. It's useless doing all the skills